Hey, I'm Cole.
I'm Kenyon.
I'm Kwame.
And I review bad self-help.
And we put it into our daily lives so you don't have to.
We're back. New week. New intern.
Is
Right,
he an
Kwame?
intern? Is that his official role? He's definitely unpaid. so he is.
In a way, we're all interns to our dream. Yeah.
Yeah, my shout out Christian Casale. He's a friend of mine who's now running.
So intern
social
really is
media.
the nicest word for just slave. That's really what we got going.
Yeah,
You
he's,
can
he's
do
a
that
friend.
third. No. All these people in the sweatshop, they're just knitting interns. That's all that's going on.
Yeah. You're getting experience.
Yeah.
But yeah. He's a friend of mine who's now running all the social media that we were. I mean, we couldn't even do the bare minimum, basically. So now he is doing that.
I guess one of Kwame's main job, besides showing up to the podcast,
Which he barely manages to do.
I'm sorry. Are you currently running the Instagram?
huh?
Are you currently running the Instagram?
Okay, I edit
Are you
the
currently running
podcast
the Gmail?
and read the books. What do you mean running the Gmail? Yeah, I look at the Gmail account.
So
What
you
do
don't
you
have
mean?
to run a Gmail, you fucking idiot.
You know what I'm talking about.
It
You know what I'm
runs
saying.
itself.
He's applying the
Okay,
shit. He's
Kwame,
posting shit.
I read the book, I edit the podcast, and I show up. And I guess I run the Instagram better than you ran the Twitter.
You don't run the Instagram. Christian runs the Instagram.
I did run the
Well,
Instagram.
to be fair, he only does that because your sole role of writing a tweet a week.
What do you do?
really
Wait, I'm
stressing
sorry.
you out.
What do you do?
Let's not focus on that.
Come to the podcast drunk. I know that's its own job, but you don't get to pretend like you're.
I hold this podcast together while you just bore the audience for an hour.
Yeah, so this internship was formed because you foisted your only job onto your friend.
I think you're upset that someone has taken the Instagram from you.
Oh no, I love it.
I think the fact that there's going to be a lot less pictures of Cole's cats and a lot more things that are relevant to the podcast on the social media has made you a little upset.
As you can see, it's all tearing us apart. As you can see, Christian's role is destroying the podcast.
Next episode will just be him talking by himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Christian, for joining on to the I'll See You in Help team.
Hey, don't let the shout out go to your head. either,
Anyone
right?
else?
You're
yeah.
still a goddamn.
Any other listeners who want to come intern for us? You want to just clean our shit, just cook for us? We're hiring all kind of interns. We got a laundry intern. We got a.
So our book for this week, I picked up The Gorilla Mindset: How to Dominate and Unleash the Animal Inside of You.
Okay.
Better self-control, improved health and fitness, and more money by Mike Cernovich.
Wait, isn't
Even
that
the
like
title
far
sounds
right?
like
Isn't that
assault.
far right crazy motherfucker?
Yeah, he's
Oh, nice.
And he's writing books called Gorilla Mindset.
Yeah.
That's oof. Already
a little bit of a trigger warning just on that,
Yeah,
goddamn.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike Cernovich, yeah, he is a very well-known. I looked up an article about him, and they call him the meme mastermind of the alt-right.
The meme mastermind?
He's a neo-Nazi. He's a Twitter neo-Nazi. That's what
Okay,
he is.
but isn't it kind of funny that like the criminals of our time are called the meme mastermind?
Meme mastermind.
Like, can you imagine like of all like in the Nazi headquarters, there's a person that's like, "Do you have a that's like that?" There's someone thinking up memes in a white supremacist organization, Supreme Council of Evil,
Oh,
really has to reach out to people through
crying
funny
Jordan
internet
face is gonna
cartoons.
hit him. This is gonna be great.
Yeah. What are some of these alt-right memes? I really don't know what these guys are laughing at.
A lot of it is just, well, when the election happened, it was a lot of Hillary Clinton memes.
Now, what portion of them were kind of funny? I mean, we had to be honest. All right, evil, but like, did they have
that's why they're she's
pretty
a
easy to
pretty
make fun of.
fucking memeable person.
pretty memeable?
He also supported like all the like Pizzagate stuff.
Oh, so just complete insanity. That's not a cause you support. That's an insane conspiracy theory. None of those pizzas were good.
What'd you say?
Other than conspiracy, they were definitely fucking kids. But don't you say it's a pizza place. That's just a child dungeon. The pizza, garbage. That's a real
the
tragedy.
conspiracy is
I'm
that a
talking
place in Washington, D.C. has the nerve to say it's one of the best pizza restaurants in the United States. That's
a real
the
crime.
fucking conspiracy.
Came in there with an AR-15 to blow that man away for thinking he could. So
he's well known. He wrote this, I think, before he was
before he really.
super well known.
At
What
what
does
point?
he
At
do?
what
though?
point?
Is he like
when-
a writer, or what is he? What is his job?
He's like an online. He blogs.
What I feel
He
like
tweets.
I feel like that's all you say for anyone alive right now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I'm just your aunt, and I'm like, but what does Kenyon do?
yeah, he blogs. He's got a Twitter.
a Twitter or something. I don't know. Is Instagram?
Oh, he's
something?
he's also a pretty big podcast host.
Okay. So how if you knew the podcast would make the podcast, would you Yeah, Kwame, would you shell out your morals?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm a Mike Cernovich.
you're like, well, yeah, just go.
He's said he's like a blogger / lawyer / podcast host.
I feel like if you were a lawyer, they would just play clips of your podcast in court, just to be like, is this really, Your Honor? How could someone tell you about statutes when he was reviewing a movie on a podcast? It was terrible.
Well, he had his podcast was the Gorilla Mindset podcast. It was a self-help podcast.
What is
kind of like ours, I guess. We're a self-help podcast.
Are we a
right?
self-help? I don't think
Yeah,
we
I don't
help
know if it's a
people. We
self-help.
tell them what not to help themselves with, and perhaps provide examples of people not to be.
Yeah, we very much people listen like, but what? So then, what are you guys doing? You're like, exactly.
Yeah, now we're all at a crossroads together in this
Now
podcast. We
now
have
you're
no
getting
idea where to
somewhere.
go from here. But so yeah, far right dude. And what do you think that's just a career move the boring white guys make?
I
If
think
they're not
so.
that interesting,
They
they're
go
like,
far
I'm
right?
just gonna, like Owen Benjamin, how he just was a shitty comic, and he was like, well, I'm just gonna be
Who
like
the hell's
offensive.
Owen Benjamin?
Exactly. But I mean, but like basically he was like this terrible comic, and he like plays the piano and shit, and then he's got banned from colleges from like being too controversial. And now he leans into it, makes way more money. So I just feel like Milo, like why would you listen to Milo Yikanaka, whatever the fuck his last name is? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
That really
Neapolis
is-
or whatever.
Neapolis-
Yeah,
well,
even
yeah.
his last name is a little too ethnic for him to be part of
Wait,
the far
what
right.
about him?
Well, exactly. He's a boring piece of shit person, but he can just walk up and be like, "All Mexicans are stupid."
Well, that's the thing now, because
You know what I mean?
we're in a culture war, you can just lean into instead. I mean, it's fine to like have an opinion, but now you can just lean into whatever side and make that your thing, and now
I think it's
you
a
blow
business
up off
for a lot
that.
of people. Like I think it's
Yeah.
just a business.
Yeah. So he used to be like part of like his blog used to be like the pickup artist stuff.
Really?
And then he moved into
They are really the gateway to
Yeah,
evil.
why is everything that's shitty right now
I
with
feel
the
like
internet
it's-
can just be traced to pickup artists?
I really like, you know how like they had all those Marvel movies that all connect? I feel like that's what reading these books are, is finding out they're all villains connected together. Like the pickup artist returns. Oh my god.
Because you go through all the
Deep
crazy
Rock
shit,
Joker.
and then it just leads back to the
I think
the
there's
single,
like a
the
council
single
of
start
these-
was just a guy couldn't get laid,
Yeah.
and now he's like, no, so it's black people.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just fucking.
he was a main figure in the pickup artist, and then he moved on to Gamergate.
Oh, that's why do they even call that gate? It was just a bunch of people harassed.
Yeah,
like a
gate is
fe-
like
like-
Watergate.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like,
like an actual scandal. It's like a
Iran
bunch
Contra,
of losers
like, yeah, it's
yelled
fucking-
at a
Yeah.
feminist blogger.
And then he started supporting Trump and being an alt-right person. So I think he just moves on to where there's like a group of like men who will kind of like listen to whatever you have to say.
Hey, I mean, it kind of sounds familiar, to be honest. It kind of sounds like an open mic. They wrote a book called Gorilla Mindset, which, I mean, not
what is it
ideal.
about? It's a pickup artist book, or it's
No, it just says how to dominate and unleash the animal inside of you.
what the fuck does that mean?
You know, it doesn't. I think you know exactly what it means.
What is it?
You know,
So how to dominate and unleash the animal inside of you through better self-control, which is
the
how to-
paradox.
It's almost
in and
the
of
opposite
itself.
of dominating.
How to be a wild
Yeah.
animal through meditation. Just doesn't make any you know.
yeah, unleash the gorilla inside of you. And
Also,
have
doesn't
better,
really. If you saw like your friend in a coffee shop, you're like, "How you doing, dude?" And then you look down and saw how to unleash the animal inside of you. You're like, "Oh, I'm glad we don't talk that much."
Also, some
Yeah.
people don't need their animals unleashed.
I'd argue all.
Yeah,
I'd argue all of us.
95% of people,
Oh, yeah.
their animals. Some people unleash their animals and then kill 20 people. That's what
That's what
they
I was
do.
thinking about today. Is people say like absolute power corrupts. I feel like it just reveals who you were the entire time.
Mm.
You know, like fucking like forgetting the
It's true. Yeah, the quote could just be somebody's like, "No, you probably suck," and so you probably
yeah,
shouldn't
like
be in charge of shit.
I'm really blanking on his name. I shouldn't right now, but the guy, the movie producer that was like,
Harvey Weinstein?
everyone, you think that guy was ever a good person? It wasn't like he started running a production company and he was just like, oh no, now I have the urge to
Yeah.
abuse actors. He's just the thing is being a loser keeps most people in their place. Because a lot of people, more people are just ruthless assholes than we'd like to admit, and as soon as they get enough power, they'll just become that.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think I was ever a nice person. I was just fat a lot of my life, so I had actually no choice but to be nice to people.
Mm.
Now that I'm working out a little, I'm telling you, real opinions are coming out.
Yeah,
As soon as I get a
you walked in
six-pack-
here with a little swagger. You
As soon as
you
I
had
get a
little
six
bit
pack,
of-
I'm gonna start just punching people.
Yeah, I saw your jawline. Your jawline was a little straighter, and you just brushed past me on the bus. It's all right.
Yeah. Do you make eye contact? Oh no, I'm getting on a whole new successful pod as soon as.
Yeah. So I guess he opens up his book on like why you should even believe him.
Which I appreciate that because most people just roll right into their bullshit, and I'm like, well, why?
Yeah. And he says you should believe him because his life story is unbelievable. And his life story is
I'm a
that
kid from the suburbs, and now I'm racist. No, believe.
You wouldn't believe it.
You wouldn't believe.
that is basically his life story.
A white
to
kid
be
from
honest.
the suburbs thinks he realizes everything. Who would have fucking thought?
But so his life story, he said he used to be a fat, poor kid who got beat up by bullies. And then he took some martial arts classes and started beating up the bullies.
Is this just the Karate Kid? Is this he's just turning the plot of the Karate Kid?
This old Asian man who was my math teacher
Yeah.
started taking me out to do
That's why
lessons.
I'll reiterate, they're the good ones. Okay, we had to make an exception.
And then he, after that, he became a rich and well-known lawyer podcaster who travels the world.
That's not a that. Wait, where's the? There's a
You
lot of jumps.
you really jumped a
You see-
lot
Yeah,
there.
you skipped a lot
One
of
thing
shit.
leads to another, and I'm a rich millionaire who doesn't even care that Nicole turned me down in ninth grade. It's like, I seem...
Yeah, so that's his unbelievable life
That's like
story.
a bio I would write like as an insecure third grader about what my future would be. Now I'm fat and ugly, but one day I'll be rich and famous and travel the world. You're stupid now. Like that is... This is like, the emotional depth of this guy is just... It's 2D. You can't even fucking...
But if you, so some people kind of looked into his background more, and it said that after law school, well, he married his first wife in law school, and it says
I like how he jumped right over that. Jumped right over her.
yeah, and he says after law school, his wife became a successful attorney in Silicon Valley, but he was not admitted to the California bar until 9 years after getting his law degree.
Dude, what is it about dudes not getting into schools they don't want to get to where they go right into just white supremacy and hate? Like, it's just them in a... I think school should just start accepting more insecure white men because it'll just turn into a... Like, Adolf Hitler could have just been a painter. All
Yeah.
the world.
And then his wife earned millions of dollars in stocks from an IPO, and that he received 7 figures in the divorce settlement, and that's how he made all his money.
Wait a minute.
Wait, hold up.
The champion of masculinity
Hold on. Yeah,
made
you
all
said-
of their money from alimony
Yeah.
through essentially just being a bitch. It's like how he got all of his money. That's beautiful. Dude, this guy's life story isn't the same as any like alcoholic divorcee housewife that you see on a
like I
boat.
said, that's like, I mean, that's advice I can get by. Just marry
yeah.
a rich woman and then divorce
If
her and
this
take
book
all her
was
shit.
just about being a gold digger, I'd get this would be the best book we've ever read. I'd be like, this is amazing.
Yeah, so that happened, and then
How does that not discredit everything?
the gorilla mindset?
The whole thing. That's like the least manly thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend broke up with you probably because you were a loser.
Yeah,
'cause you didn't-
which gorilla is this? What gorilla?
The girl, the
The,
sickly one that gets
the
captured.
little one in Tarzan that you think might be gay, but he's not gay, or,
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I don't know.
Wait,
This is
what?
fun. This is a rhesus monkey guide. You're not a,
Rhesus
you ain't a
monkey.
goddamn gorilla.
Oh.
I think you thought about Tarzan
You know
a little too
his
much.
little friend, the friend in Tarzan.
Yeah, I didn't project my own insecurities
I
onto
was
the
watching
small.
it as a kid. I thought the gorilla was gay.
It sounded a little
I'm not saying it's
weirdly
a bad
personal.
thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing
never
for the gorilla to be
watched
gay.
a
I never
movie.
said it was a bad thing for the gorilla to be gay.
Sounded
Just-
like
see a
you
little-
considered
little-
that gorilla. You're like,
You see, I feel like you saw a little bit of yourself.
That's
I
what
didn't
I'm
want to
saying.
say it, but it
Go
seems
fuck
like
yourself.
I've
I
never
said
had
it was
like a
wrong. I
hateful
never said it
reaction.
was wrong. I didn't say it was a hateful reaction.
Remember EO for fucking
I didn't
Winnie
say it
the
was
Pooh
a
who
hateful
was on the
reaction.
press
I'm just saying the gorilla had some mannerisms that.
that he would never want to tell to his mom because they would never love him for who he
That's
truly
what I'm saying,
is.
is
But
the
I'm
gorilla
just
had
saying.
Gorilla had some
I'm just
mannerisms. You watched the movie. We watched Tarzan. You know what I'm talking about. The one.
No, we
that's
didn't watch
no.
Tarzan.
It's the one that's his friend. We watched the movie. You know
the
what
bad. I'm not gonna rewatch the movie just to see if the gorilla acts a little gay.
That's all.
You know,
all
that's
I'm
a
saying.
sentence I
I didn't
literally
say it
never
was a
thought I'd
bad
hear.
thing. I didn't say it was a bad thing. Yes, mannerisms. Go on with what you're saying.
He then goes into what is mindset, in case we don't know, and this is how he starts off, and it's kind of like it's a cliche at this point, right? Where he says Wikipedia defines mindset as
If you're writing a book and that's where your mind goes first, just
Wikipedia
listen,
defines
delete the
mindset.
page you're writing on and go
Yeah.
to the gym. Just
it's not
get a hold
even.
of
He
yourself.
didn't even do like Webster's defines
yeah,
mindset.
he's
He
going to
does
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
It's like, gee, at least aim for higher,
Said
man.
Lil Uzi Vert fan 47 defines mindset as.
Yeah. And so he says you'll learn how to apply a gorilla mindset to your life. And he says no other self-help book has been targeted towards men like you. The message is always watered down to appeal to a wider audience. This book is for those of you willing to do whatever it takes to succeed.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I assume that that's the.
Like annoy your wife enough that she'll...
A lot of these books are like, are you willing to do what it takes? And you're like, yeah, I'm willing to work hard and be like a better person. It's like, cool. So like when you're dropping her off her house, just lock the doors and circle the block with her in it. You're like, that isn't really the do whatever it takes.
That shit reads like a fucking manifesto.
Yeah,
If this is like the last page of like a shooter's type document.
And those willing to die for the revolution.
To do what it takes for the white race. Like, Jesus.
He's kind of in it because he was accused of raping a woman. He was actually arrested for this guy.
Was all the proof just the title of this book, Unleash Your Animal, No Hold Back?
Wait, how far back was this? This was recently?
In like 2003 or something.
Does it matter if that was a while ago?
Well, because
Would you be like, hey, well, it's 10 years.
I'm wondering how he's still popular is what I'm saying.
Because he's in the alt, they don't care.
Yeah.
If you're part of a base that doesn't really believe in morality, then you can kind of do whatever you want.
On his like website, he writes blog posts like why date rape doesn't exist and stuff like
that's
that.
Not.
So,
That's blatant.
Bold
yeah, that's
stance.
blatant. That's not even trying.
Even the title kind of feels like rape a little bit.
It's
Kind of feels like you're
horrific.
raping me with that opinion.
But so he's actually remarried too. So
Jesus.
I don't know. He's married to like a Persian lady.
Of course.
Wait, what do you mean? Okay, we're not gonna skip over. What do you mean? Of course.
Huh?
What do you mean? Of course.
Remember the other one of the you got it. It all blends together. The other one of the books they were talking about like mail order brides and shit and how they only like. I mean, it's probably like a green
when
card
you're trying to
marriage.
just escape a country.
Yeah,
There's
don't
also
care.
let's not Persia. Let's say Iran. We're trying to escape. We're trying to escape that country.
I mean, if you can live under dictatorship, then you can live under just some really annoying, abrasive dude. I mean, probably she's seen so much evil in her life. It's like, yeah, my husband's just
when he's like, and wife,
bastard.
and that's why the Mexicans are coming in. She's like, I can buy.
brother is sitting in a prison for googling freedom.
I can read
think.
books here, so yeah, I guess I'll
Yeah.
just put up with it as well.
But there was a profile on their relationship, and it says like early in their relationship, she started reading his blog, which had posts like how to cheat on your girlfriend.
Not ideal.
Also, no one who's reading that is.
Has a girlfriend.
No
Hey,
one
has
who's
a
reading
girlfriend.
that has a girlfriend, let alone multiple women that they can cheat with.
Yeah.
And she said, I would come home from work crying and say, how can you write such rude things? And he'd say, you don't understand, babe. This is just how guys talk.
Jesus. Ugh.
Yeah.
Wait, and what is that? That's her post.
That's also the
No,
border.
that's
That's
his
like the
post.
classical douchebag defense. Like, I'm just talking with the guys. I'm like, what do you think we all talk about? Like, we just sit at the council of evil and we're like, all right, how can we disrespect women this week?
That's
Mommy?
such an annoying thing when people use that. Like, guys are being guys. I'm like, well, you're reducing us to like these fucking just
Chimpanzees, just complete idiot. They were just one of the world. Like, vagina?
Yeah,
Vagina?
like the three of us just hang out and drink beer and like, so rape, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's what we fucking. That's,
Also, like, what's a guy talk about how to cheat on your girlfriend? Like,
well, I
Are we
mean, to be
just-
fair, if you had to,
are we
if
just
you had
like
to talk to
that is
somebody,
true. If
it'd be
I'm
pretty
talking to
guy
someone
friendly.
about that as well.
If Kwame came up to me, I'd be like, I wouldn't. I'd be like, you shouldn't. But then if you're going to, we're gonna do it smart. Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it. It's like bank robbery, you know.
not gonna throw out names, but it is a conversation. People are like, so how should I do this? And I'm like, well, I'm not telling you should do it, but if you're gonna do
I
it,
definitely want to.
But how is that? If someone like has a problem with like what you said, how is that like an excuse for talking about how to cheat on your girlfriend? Like,
Wait, what do you mean?
like by saying it's guy talk.
Oh,
Like,
it's
what is-
not.
what is
No,
that?
no, no.
no, it's
excusing?
not guy talk. It's friend talk.
But like, how would that like calm his wife down?
I wouldn't calm anybody down.
Like, yeah. But
I mean, that's literally what Trump used, though. He's like, it's locker room talk. It's like, what?
That's crazy. He's president off that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So maybe he was thinking right. He was just following he was being presidential. That was the only thing.
yeah, and he actually has a daughter too.
Jesus.
Um,
That was definitely God trying to fuck with him.
and
That's so nice.
he said, "I'll be nice to her as long as she's not a basic bitch." That's what he said about his daughter.
about the child he brought into this world.
The internet is one of the worst things that ever existed.
It's like it opens up a portal to types of evil you didn't know
It was
existed.
supposed to connect all of humanity, and it's,
Can you imagine like finding out when people are like, "What does your dad do?" It's like he calls women fat on the internet. Jesus. For career day, he just walks in, and it's like, if you guys could just write articles about how rape isn't real, you'll make so much money.
It's crazy that 30% of the planet doesn't even have internet.
No. Well, lucky bastards. Quite honest.
Motherfuckers, yeah, they're sitting there in the middle of Ghana, like, I wonder what in America they're posting about. And like, so rape, not true.
Yeah. It's really going to turn to a thing where like we're fleeing our countries to get away from social media. We're like, no, you can. We'll keep
do you think
moving.
do you think the people in Ghana would post like better things?
I assume it's horrific things.
I mean, if they,
You're like, yeah, they'd just be they're like, hey, yeah, I accused her of a witch and burn her. It's just guy talk. It's just guy talk.
His book is actually really boring considering
Who he is?
his views. Yeah.
Yeah, because the calling your daughter a basic bitch thing, I feel like that was already.
It's basically just like, like eat better, sleep better.
Oh, so it's like kind of solid tips. It's like if we had to be, like that is like what you are supposed to do.
There's like
Speaking on the. Wait, what were you gonna say?
it's like there's some weird stuff in there, but it's not like, I don't know what you would expect. Also,
So you're a little bummed out, honestly.
yeah. So his first tip is the power of self-talk. And he says self-talk is the conversations you have with yourself.
So far, I'm not against anything you say. That is objectively true. Self-talk is the conversation you have with yourself.
It's not a tip. That's just
That is a definition
a very basic
That is-
description of the human brain.
of the thing you said. Yeah.
And so he says you should improve your self-talk. So a lot of people's self-talk is like criticizing themselves by saying
Terrible.
like,
Probably true. Almost all of it.
If I 100% of it. If I had my self-talk, it would sound like an abuse tape. I'm gonna be honest.
He's my worst enemy.
Oh, 100%.
He talks to me constantly.
Oh, Christ.
yeah. So he says you should start talking to yourself in a mirror, record yourself doing it, see how bad it is, and then change it to positive self-talk.
You know,
I think if
all
I
of
did
this
that,
would make me hate myself a lot.
I was gonna say if I could record the thoughts that I have in my brain to myself and I just listen to them for like an hour, I might literally go insane.
Also, like, I already have a low self-esteem as it is. If I'm talking to myself in a mirror and filming it, I'm gonna completely hate myself.
I might, yeah, it'll break me.
Yeah.
It would fucking break me.
Yeah, but I think he says it should probably break you, so you realize how bad,
So
how hard
you
you're
would
being
say
on yourself.
what you normally think about yourself out loud in front of a mirror?
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
and then see.
I don't know, if anyone saw it, they would think it would be like I was haunted.
Yeah,
So we got to film this.
record it like audio.
All right. I don't know.
Hear how
This tape's
nasty it
gonna have to
is.
be deleted. Oh, it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be
It's
awful.
gonna be bad. It's gonna be all bleeped. Fucking
And then
serious.
change it to positive self-talk.
Just change it out of nowhere.
You know what? So far, this is actually kind of good.
How do you change it though?
Huh?
How do you change it to positive self-talk?
You know, be like, hey, you are the best poor piece of shit I know. I'll tell you that.
That was it. Like, but I'm gonna try to be like, hey man, you're really cute, and then the other guys are gonna be like, he's lying, and I'm like, well,
Well, you could just. I mean, it's not possible to have a positive perspective. You know, you
Of
be like, hey,
course.
I'm a cool looking guy. Well, Chicago, follow my dreams. Part of a pretty successful podcast.
think-
Got on the charts on Stitcher. You know what I
You
mean?
say that. You can be in front of the mirror saying that to yourself, and all of a sudden a second voice pops up, and you're like, I didn't know you were in here. And he's like, I've been here the whole time. He starts shitting on you too.
But yeah, I thought this was like fairly.
Yeah,
it was
that
like
seems actually like fairly
fairly-
It's
decent
not bad
advice.
at all. Yeah,
Fairly
Where-
trite
yeah, 'cause
stuff.
I'm waiting to see where the race and all the weird shit goes. In there.
this chapter is called like gorilla self-talk habits.
Doesn't
Like-
even seem gorilla.
Gorillas don't do that at all.
Seems
I
pretty.
can't imagine a gorilla going around criticizing himself. like,
You don't even speak sign language, you fucking idiot. You're not a
See the
real
way that
gorilla.
you threw your own shit yesterday? Everybody thought you did it weird. You're so weird. Why are
Live
you
in a
so weird?
goddamn
Everybody thinks
cave.
you're fucking
Why do
weird.
that's why all those 6-year-olds come up to you, man. You're not anything, dude. You're not an alpha. You're not shit. You're a chimpanzee. You're not
Hey,
a fucking
bitch,
gorilla.
You're never gonna be shit. You're
Yeah,
not a
yeah, yeah. Bang on your chest. There's nothing there, buddy.
fucking-
because that's I feel like the main disconnect from this book is like the very aggressive, like unleash the beast within, and then all the chapters are kind of like non-offensive, like oh, don't criticize yourself
Yeah,
so much.
Look, this is actually pretty positive shit.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
sleep better and then eat healthier.
Dude, I like it before, and he's like, I wouldn't even look my daughter in the eye if she was a basic bitch. And now he's like, love yourself. You're your own worst enemy. So it's like,
It makes
what?
it seem so fucking hard. Like Eye of the Tiger is gonna be playing as I'm sitting there just talking to myself.
Like in the mirror, like, hey, Kenny, you know what? You're a beautiful man. A lot of people love you. Funny, charismatic. Following your dreams. Tough through a good situation. Beat addiction. You know what I mean? Like, that would be, yeah. This actually, would be the worst if this book was, like, actually the best one we read. Like, the alt-right guy actually, like, changed my life for the better. I'm like, hey, maybe we should listen to the other stuff he says. Maybe he's right on this. Is he right about the border? Let's just hear him out. Let's hear him out.
Pizzagate might be true.
I might have some kids in those dungeons because I realized there was some good in here. Right in my heart, guys. So.
But yeah. But I kind of did look it up. A lot of this
He's a
stuff.
monster. Like,
No.
just to reiterate,
Yeah, he is. But like it seems like a lot of this he just kind of cribbed from other like self-help books.
I mean, this is almost what like a therapist would tell you to do. Like if you were super,
Yeah.
if you were super hard on yourself, this is like If a therapist told me to do this, I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, the next tip is how to take back control of your attention, or how to develop gorilla focus. And he said,
I think he just picked a brand and he just wants to stick with the name for some reason, even though it doesn't apply. It was like Gorilla Focus. It's like, what?
yeah, it's like he went to the hardware store and saw like Gorilla Glue.
And he's like, I should have a book like that. You know what I mean? Because it has nothing to do with what he's saying, but he's just like, and also again, if gorillas are so focused, I feel like they could improve their, maybe make one tool.
They're so focused they wouldn't be about to go extinct. Maybe probably.
Are they about to go extinct?
They're pretty endangered. Yeah.
From who?
What do you mean?
What do you mean from us? What the fuck do you mean from who?
But who's killing gorillas?
Well,
human beings.
A lot of people, and then also it's mainly a habitat thing. Like deforestation.
Destroying the fucking poachers and shit.
I don't know if they're actually that much endangered.
They're pretty very much endangered. Yeah. I mean, we can get back to what we're talking about.
You get ready to run
for,
but you get ready to run as a Republican in Congress.
Yeah.
I don't know if climate change is that really.
That's pretty much their take on everything. Like, no, it's a real problem. You're like, I don't know.
I don't know about that really.
Like, but what about all these things dying? You're like, yeah. Worry about it. This man is Googling whether or not we. You were wrong. I don't know why you
refuses to believe.
me.
He's so refused to believe that he's wrong. He's Googling the fucking.
No, and he's wrong.
I don't think so.
You know what's never endangered? Cole's ego. I tell you, that's thriving and doing fantastic. It really is any threat.
Yeah, what'd you find?
What do you think? Do you think Africa is just gorillas running nonstop, or there really is?
They're dying. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
they're
it's
not
like
doing
a
great.
serious problem.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, what
the fuck do you mean?
It doesn't matter what you think. The fact is still the same.
What matters is that they don't fucking exist.
No one's like, did you check in with what Cole Nolden in Chicago, Illinois thinks?
Right, so I'm googling it myself on my phone. The mountain gorilla. It's one of the two subspecies of the eastern gorilla, and it's in Uganda. 1,004 of them are left.
So that's extremely.
It's almost.
That's
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
Are you gonna try to tell me that's not?
Are you serious right now, Cole?
That's not.
That is extreme. That is
we have the
on
number,
the verge of extinction.
We have the
No, it's
number.
not.
We have the number down to the exact. There's 1,004 of them.
Are you fucking around right now?
That's less people than went to my high school.
Yeah, but that's not how you determine
If the
how
population
animals
literally
are.
if your graduating class in high school was the amount of humans left, would you sit there and be like,
that's
well, that's
not how
actually
you,
enough people to really?
that's not how you determine endangered
Cole, what will it
status.
take for you to ever admit you're wrong? Because I don't think it's a thing you're fundamentally capable of.
Oh, I was okay because the other subspecies there's a 3,800. So
This is also extremely
yeah. So they're doing all right.
The endangered is if their population is decreasing. It's not.
Motherfucker, I'm
it's
looking
not
at this
the
shit
amount
right
of
here.
It's 1,000.
It's not
what
amount
what
of
the fuck are
So
you
would you
population.
talking
say that
about?
they're doing great? Would you say there's
They're-
no issues with the gorilla
yeah, you just
population?
tried to tell me.
Well, they're increasing year on year their population. I almost minored in biology in college, so I know these terms a little better than you.
I am. Did you say you almost minored in biology?
He thought about it, so therefore he is.
I almost minored in biology.
I can identify most animals just based off their skeleton.
Shut up.
You know.
I never know when you're fucking with me.
You
or when
really have no idea what Cole is.
I never know when you're fucking with me.
No,
or what,
I don't
or what
know.
you're doing.
I don't think Cole's ever shared a genuine opinion with me in his life. I think he is just like everything he says is just some sort of way to fuck with me. It's just a slight troll.
So this tip was how to take back control of your attention, how to develop gorilla focus, and you guys failed at this because you went wildly off topic on the tip about how to develop focus.
That again was your fault. That was again. We had a mild disagreement, which you felt the need to Google because I don't know. You feel like you need to really prove something to two 20-year-olds.
You think you have pretty bad? I think I have pretty bad. I mean, I'm bad at looking at my phone.
I feel like almost. I mean, it's bad, but I feel like almost everyone today's attention's just been like crippled because of social media.
Well, it is a thing. Like I was realizing. I was reading some shit about some reporters who were like doing shit for the NBA Finals, and it was like 6 reporters that they picked, and they had to be like sequestered in a room for like 2 hours where they weren't allowed to have their phones. And my first thought was like, oh, that sucks. like it's fucking. Because you're just so used to. You're not supposed to have stimulation all the time.
You're really not. You're supposed to just be bored sometimes, you know, and like be able to do that. And I think everyone's attention span is like you have like an IV ego drip that's like, did anyone
Yeah.
like me now? How about now? How about now? So our attention's a little fucked because of the smartphones. What's the
How to develop gorilla focus?
yeah.
Well, first he tells you that lack of focus is bad. It leads to death. Like
Leads to death.
Yeah, what do you mean leads to death? What does that mean?
like if you forget about your child in a car and you leave them in there.
Well, that's like
Yeah,
literally the worst case
That's a little
scenario.
different from
I mean, it's a little different from like, oh, he's a little spacey during a conversation as
Yeah.
opposed to like, I forgot. Also, who the fuck does that? I know that
Yeah.
happens pretty commonplace.
That's kind of ridiculous. People,
But
who are
that's
like,
insane.
I forgot my child like died. And I'm like, what? How the fuck is that?
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
a
I
thing?
mean, like, listen, I'm pretty forgetful and clumsy. I would never forget that my child was in the car because his presence would make me feel full of regret all the time, and I would definitely remember that he was there. I'm probably going to the store to buy something for him. I close the door. I'm like, this fucking kid. And I remember that he's there. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. That
So how to develop gorilla focus? It's you ask yourself, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? Does this person bring you more of what you want, or does this person bring you less of what you want? And he says, if people want to associate with you, it must be on your terms. Those who do not want to meet your terms are free to leave.
Okay, fucking Kim Jong Un over
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
What the fuck are you talking about?
pretty totalitarian way to go about life.
Associate
is-
on my terms.
Also, most people, like,
You
you're
know,
going to run
you're on
into
a
disagreements
first
with
date,
most
and you're like, well, I can already see our terms are not really going to work out. So unless you want to,
yeah, that's pretty insane. And
Mm.
what an unfun way to live your life.
oh yeah, I mean, hang on, it's fucking compromise. Like, what are you talking?
Yeah,
You're not
that's
gonna get your
all life
fucking,
is. You're not going to be able to do what you want pretty much ever. Okay, so you go with it. You go with the best case sellout. You
Mm.
know, and the idea is I wouldn't associate with anyone on your terms. It's like most of the time you're wrong. You know, that's why
Yeah, he even says you could do this with your family and stuff if they're not.
He's encouraging you to just cut your family off.
Yeah, if they're not.
What is your what does he mean by that? What does he mean associating with
pretty
you? on your
vague. That
terms?
could go by anybody. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Okay, my family wanted to get the terms they were talking about was paying child support, and I was like, listen, I'll need to subscribe to that. Okay, subscribe to your arbitrary rules and restrictions.
Like he says, for example, he doesn't want more stress in his life. To make more money, you often have to endure more stress. So he says, if I wanted more money, I might deal with more stress to make more money. And so he doesn't.
Very vague way to compliment yourself without actually having to pretend like you have any way to make more money.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would make more money, but it's very stressful. And like, you don't have a job. What are you talking to? You're like, well, I want to live by my own terms. I don't want to be stressed out having to wake up at some point, and go to an establishment. I mean, that's going to ruin me. So,
And he says, as you develop more focus in your life, you may notice people calling you selfish. But he says people who accuse you of being selfish are twice as selfish as they claim you
I
are.
think his daughter's a real selfish bitch. Dad, you just drive me to the baseball game? No, I'm writing a book, Sasha.
You know how
Come
selfish
on.
you are?
Yeah, you egotistical bastard. Who needs a hug every day? Come on. Get out of here.
Also, that just doesn't make sense.
No, it's
how are
just-
they twice as selfish as...
That sounds like
Like
literally a kindergarten retort where it's like, you're selfish. You're twice as selfish.
Yeah, like
What are
if
you
his
talking
wife is like, hey, could you take out the trash this week? And he's like, what? No.
Didn't I tell you I'm trying to live my own terms here? Okay? I don't want to endure any more stress. As hard as it is.
Yeah, you're the selfish one
Yeah,
for
that's just
asking
like
me.
a drunk stepdad way of trying to live my own terms. You're stressing me out, all right? I mean, I'm sitting there, you're stressing me out a lot.
Yeah.
I told you what the terms are. You can take the kid, you can goddamn go.
Yeah.
What is he? He's like, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say to me sticks to you. that's what he did with this little selfish thing.
Yeah. God.
All right. I remember my dad had this saying where he said, if you hurt
Bye.
me,
I was gonna say it's gonna be a Cole, get your ass in here.
and he's like, remember, like anything you do to hurt me, I can do it twice as much to you. or whatever.
That is
Now,
what
I
the
like how you're like, my
fuck?
dad had a cute saying, I'll beat your fucking eyes out. I was like, that's just a threat.
God
Your
damn.
dad had just a violent threat.
God damn. Well, I mean, my mom and my grandma have the one of I brought you into this world, I could take you out of it.
They didn't trademark that. I've heard that.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
mom and grandma are hacks. Okay,
Yeah.
they're stealing from the wealth.
That is, yeah. This is the thing.
That's
you hear
all-
like, it's the thing you hear at like 12, and you're like, but that's not.
That's also like a Terminator type line.
Yeah,
You know, that's a
like-
pretty intense thing to say to someone for like not doing the dishes. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a weird line too because I don't know. You can take anyone out no matter what if you brought him
Yeah,
into
it's
the
not
world
like it's
or not.
legal. It's not. It's not like
Yeah,
the court's
it's-
gonna be like, well, she
they-
did bring him into the world.
With
so,
that saying, they make it sound like they have the legal authority. To
yeah,
to-
We're the
kill
only
you.
authority.
yeah. So and then the last tip is change the way you live like a gorilla.
Well, that just doesn't sound. Can you imagine if you bumped into someone at a bar like, yeah, you've been doing it. Man, I changed the way I live. I'm really looking for a gorilla lifestyle. You're like, what's going on with Fred?
What does he mean? Shane? They've been living the same lifestyle for 15,000 years.
Also, it's not great, as we taught. Heavily debated earlier, but as you can see, they're not
Wake
doing
up,
great.
eat shit, kill my enemy's children, and then then go to bed.
Yeah. So what does that entail?
I don't know why you guys keep bringing up these gorilla facts that are so wrong. I'm not even gonna. This is gonna be a whole nother argument. So
Oh,
I'm
we're
not
starting-
gonna.
we're
I'm not
starting
gonna get into
another
it.
Gorilla debate podcast.
Yeah, but this
We should put
gorilla.
a poll. We should put a poll on the Twitter, and if you think Cole is lying or wrong, we'll put it on the Instagram and the Twitter. If you think gorillas are endangered,
You don't need to
that.
think gorillas are. They just are in danger.
If you think Cole's right, you can vote for him.
No, the first thing. Do you think gorillas would argue like you guys are now? Yeah, the first thing you need to do is Well,
They don't argue; they beat each other in.
Yeah,
with 600-pound muscles. What the
They
fuck
rip
So you
each
need
other
to-
apart.
so the first thing you need to do to live like a gorilla is sleep as much as you can.
Wait, is that literally something you said?
Yeah.
What the, how is that a self? That doesn't even seem. Just get more sleep. The thing is, he's trying to use the gorilla metaphor, but it like clearly does not work for all of his self-help. He's like, you got to sleep and exercise and eat healthy like a gorilla, and you're like that. This is just basic health advice
Do
that
they?
you're attached.
Do they sleep a
Clean
lot? Is
your
that-
room like a gorilla.
Really, yeah, it just makes no. He's just so attached to the. I think he started writing the book, and he's like, the gorilla thing doesn't make sense.
You should go
But
back
he's
to
like, I have
school
to
like
tie it.
go back to school like gorillas do.
Yeah,
Try
yeah,
to find your ultimate purpose in life like a gorilla.
Do they sleep a lot? Is that a thing they do?
I mean, they probably sleep more. They don't have really any appointments or anything. So
I don't think we should get into all these gorilla facts because
yeah, apparently.
Oh, you get a
it's
little, you get a
it's
little
tearing the
heated?
podcast
Yeah,
apart.
it's a
So
contention. It's a contention.
we're not gonna debate how long gorillas sleep.
Just get into an actual fist fight. Just punch Cole in the face over. It says 8 hours. God damn it.
Maybe they wouldn't be endangered if they slept so long.
I think it always is weird though when you see animals who like lions sleep for like 15 hours a day, but you see animals who sleep for like 6 hours. Like, what the fuck are you doing? The rest of you doing?
But it's also
you
most
know,
of
your
those
fucking
animals
time.
are in the zoo and they are essentially clinically depressed. They live in a cage
Do you
where
think animals
children.
should be in zoos?
It's well the only
think-
reason the
I
only reason
think
they should be in
highly
zoos is
intelligent.
because human beings live outside of zoos and they destroy their normal habitat.
I think it depends on the animal. Like a snake does not need to run around, but like the fact like a killer whale is in a
no,
pool.
well that whole thing is
Like, that's
travesty.
straight up
Yeah,
right.
no, they're like weirdly intelligent. We essentially trapped these like weird, super smart beings and make them jump through hoops. And as soon as they can like tell, their dolphins are coming for us.
Yeah, they fucking I mean,
They have their own language and shit.
They
And we're-
crash into like the sides of the cages and shit like that, and they'll
They
like
kill
fight
trans.
each
Yeah,
other.
you know, also they're-
You know,
you
they've only killed people in like SeaWorld. and shit. They don't kill people in
Who?
the wild.
Killer
Killer whales.
whales.
They've never killed a
They
person.
also
in the wild.
they stick together for life generally, like the mom and the daughter, and then SeaWorld's the only place like separates them forever, and they scream and shit. Animals, yeah, just to do, and you go there with your fat fucking family and take a photo that's like with the whales, and you got this weird, intelligent creature being just traumatized by some fucking dumb 21-year-old trainer, and it's
Yeah. You don't like SeaWorld then?
not the big.
yeah, not a big. It's
I
yeah,
can't wait
blackfish
for, I
is,
can't wait for Cole's
saw
apologist
Blackfish?
bullshit. I didn't see a blackfish, but I've
is
heard it.
some sad shit. It's monstrous.
I don't like any zoos at all. They're just kind of boring too. Besides,
I mean, I like
I
going
think
to
some
the
of
zoo.
them
I
are
think
okay
zoos
because
are
they. I mean, they're what got me. Like I was a kid, they got me interested in animals. They made me wanting.
apparently a lot of them do a lot for like conservation.
No,
Yeah.
I think
but-
you need them because people are
Yeah,
terrible.
but you don't
and
need 'em
we've
'cause people
ruined.
suck.
Yeah, if
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 the
their
world was
environments are great,
perfect-
I would say just don't. Have
Yeah, no zoos.
change the way you live like a gorilla. Sleep as
You
much
think
as
that,
you
like,
can.
he ran this by his editor, and he's like, I think you should just change the title. These are you're very loosely. You can't say balance your finances like a gorilla. It just doesn't even make any sense.
Start saying no to everything.
Like a gorilla? Yeah,
Wait,
well, I
what
guess
does
you
he mean
can't say
start
fucking
saying-
anything.
Isn't that bad advice? Saying no to everything.
Yeah, that
Wasn't
doesn't
there the
sound
guy who
great.
had,
That's
like, the
that's
Yes
like
book?
depression generally. It's
Yeah,
like
wasn't-
being closed off to new experiences.
It was like the Jim Carrey movie where the guy's like he says yes to everything and it's supposed to like improve your life.
Yeah, but that could also make you
Are you
kind of
talking
like
about the Shonda Rhimes book, A Year of Yes?
Well, what's his face? Jim Carrey, right? Didn't you have a? He,
Well,
like,
that
turned
was
into
a
movie?
comical movie. That
Yeah,
wasn't
Yes
an
Man or whatever
actual
the fuck.
self.
But I'm talking, it's
But
based
I
off the
don't-
book where you're supposed
what-
to say yes to
What
shit.
movie is that?
It's called
I think it's called
Man.
Yes Man. Yeah. Anyways, do you think that helps saying like yes to shit? Which do you think would be worse for your life? You say yes to everything, or you say no to everything?
I think saying no to everything would be worse. But there's a balance because you could be like a pushover type person that says, I do that.
Well, it's
a
not
lot,
just like
where
you
I say
can't-
yes to shit that damages me and I shouldn't because
I'm
it's
kind of
profitable.
bad at that because I'm impulsive. I get like the fear of missing out. Just someone's like, hey, let's go out, and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, all right, I guess I'm fine.
Well, not even that. Where someone's like, "Can you give me a ride here? Can I borrow money?" I'm like, "Yeah, totally." But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "No, of course." There's two versions of me, and that's in my head. I'm like, "Fuck you, no." But then outside, I'm like, "No, I'll help you out." And yeah, I feel like
Well,
balance.
the inner version of you is the gorilla version of
That
you.
needs to
needs to
set
be,
free.
yeah,
needs to get
unleashed.
out of his cage.
Yeah, but saying no to everything is also not. Good.
Yeah, I'll say no to everything. That strikes me
when
as
she's
a dude.
texting you at 2:30, she's like, come over, and you're like, I'm a gorilla. I'm gonna go ahead and
To
say
be fair,
no.
though, I think that would work.
What?
Because I thought it's kind of a horrible thing I've noticed about human psychology, but it's like people I feel like are a little bit more attracted to people that aren't immediately.
If you're just like, no.
Not like straight up no, but it's like I think when people are like see you're busy at doing stuff, they're like more.
I mean, it does help to be. I mean, it's good when you like look like you have a life going on. Because it's gross if you get into a thing with someone, you realize like, oh, I'm this person's entire life.
But that's what I want. I want a codependent. Yeah, you're everything. Come on, I'll treat you great. I got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
You know, all my money, my small amount, will go to you. I mean, it's a great deal. Sign the codependency deal. I don't.
Yeah. And then his last tip is take a contrast shower where you do hot water for 30 seconds and then cold water for 30 seconds.
Like a gorilla. Like taking a
Fuck is a
shower.
contrast
This dude
shower?
is so attached to the metaphor, which does not add up.
Fuck is a contrast shower?
He
What
just
is-
I
explained.
just
he
So you
explained
take
literally
it.
just
you
said
take it like you do it at the end, or you just take? I just switch it constantly throughout the shower.
Wait,
Well,
and what is that supposed to do other
You know
than
what I mean?
make
It's a
uncomfortable?
contrast.
So,
So I start at because I sometimes do that if it's
I don't
super
really
hot
know
out.
what you're confused about.
You start like you start at hot for like 5 minutes and you finish with cold 5 minutes, or like every 30 seconds I'm switching the fucking.
every-
water.
Every 30. Yeah.
Well, that's just
That's fucking
that's
ridiculous.
just upset. What is that supposed to do? Just make you uncomfortable? Yeah, you're even. Cole's just looking off
Yeah,
like,
just
"Hey,
make it a
dude,
weird
I just
thing."
run a podcast. I'm not God. I'm not able to fucking summon reasons from nowhere."
I don't know. Maybe he pulled it out from some gorilla habit they do in the wildlife, but
You really
I doubt it.
no. The metaphor, as we've said, does not make any goddamn sense.
And when you're in the shower doing this, perform the gorilla mindset brain warm up.
What the fuck is that shit?
He's really trying to trademark a lot of phrases that are never going to take off. God.
It's count backwards from 100. Find a noun that fits each letter of the alphabet, and then create a numbered list of female names 1 to 10.
What's the female names for? You're like, I have absolutely, because also it's just because I guess it's like a get your mind sharp or whatever. But the list, if somebody just saw me pulling out a piece of paper and I'm like Ashley, Megan, and they're like Kenyon, what's going on? I'm like just making lists. You know, that would be a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
So, yeah, the gorilla mindset brain warm up that all the gorillas do out in the wild.
If you saw a gorilla with just a list of 10 female names, how fucking flipped out would you? What? They have a pencil. Why? How do you know her? How do you know my has an address? They're like, we're actually thinking about. That'd be like really great if like they're gonna bulldoze this forest and a gorilla just comes out and hands him a list, just an address where his wife and kids live. Just, we're coming.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So that's
So a lot of
that's the
this
gorilla
just sounds
method.
like kind of roundabout. I mean, you got some of your nonsensical garbage, which will come with any self-help book, but then there's some that's like this is kind of just general shit.
yeah.
This is just like basic advice you would get. Well, I mean,
I'm listening to what the fuck you say.
Turn off your phone, man.
I'm texting somebody,
We're
man.
on a
You're not an audience member.
Yeah, for fuck's
Texting
sake.
something important.
Participate in your goddamn life.
I've been up and riveting doing shit.
You're not. You're
phone
literally
ain't distracting
lying
me.
down on a couch
The phone ain't distracting
with the
me.
mic.
Texting Christian what to say next.
Yeah.
They're talking about gorillas. What should I say?
Yeah. I can't wait till we have like the Kwame AI. That's just him. It's just someone slurring a riff that doesn't work.
Back from the gorilla mindset week. How'd you guys do?
I think the mirror thing is kind of almost legitimately sad. I was
What,
like,
looking in
you had to
positive
say
affirmations.
what you normally think
Yeah.
by yourself out loud in the mirror, and then film it, and then say something
You
positive
film it?
afterwards. I didn't have the strength to film it. I didn't want any evidence of that.
What
on-
are the things you normally say about yourself?
Well, it's kind of like a drunk Woody Allen monologue. I don't know. It's normally like, I don't know. I guess it's probably like you had to do improv with one shitty audience
Say the
member,
things.
but then only the person's only suggestions.
Stop using metaphors and say the thing. I want to know what you said.
The thing is, what if your negative self-talk is
True?
It's not true, but it's like what you use to make people laugh. Like you use that sometimes, right? Like what if you're getting rid of your
My
source of
demon?
information and stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's benefits.
You
and then
say
there's,
you're getting rid of your source of information.
there's benefits, and then there's not. I mean, there's a difference between like
Yeah, you
mild
also could just
cynicism.
you could be funny while also just like enjoying yourself as a person and having a good.
Would
you're
you,
not gonna be miserable. That sad clown bullshit for the most part is like not.
What if
Really true.
your sense of humor went away, but when you found like peace with yourself,
I guess
would
I'm
you-
a
would you-
totally different person?
would you make that trade?
I'm just going back to being a miserable
That's a
person.
good question.
just for the bits.
Would you make that choice?
No.
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 Really?
Yeah. Well.
I think everyone who's ever hung out with you would make that choice.
You'd rather be a miserable but funny person than a person who's at peace with themselves.
I guess you're just
content-
asking me to be
a
like a
person
completely
who's
different
fun
person.
to have a drink
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. So I mean, that just sounds kind of scary to be a completely different person.
Interesting. So this self-talk, self-help might be doing you
But
some.
I don't legitimately buy into you need to be depressed to be funny.
That's that sad. That's
yeah,
sad
so
clown
I mean,
bullshit.
I
That's
don't,
not
I
fucking.
don't,
That's
I don't
not
even
real,
think that's
man.
true, really. 'Cause
Like
I
I'm
mean,
not. Yeah, if I'm trying to write bitches,
aside
I'm
from
like
the
depressed.
podcast,
Is not
aside
gonna
from the
I'm not-
podcast, I do a lot of shit to improve myself.
I'm not
you know,
saying that that's true, but there is
as a
like
thought experiment.
yeah, and there's also like a way of like looking at things that I feel like if you're content with a lot of things, you might not notice things in a certain way.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever will be. So I don't think I need to really worry
That's
about.
good.
Yeah. Things that that's off the table. Being a fulfilled person never gonna happen. So, yeah, no, it's just I don't know. It's like just a running monologue. You're not good enough. People are better without you. Shit like that. So it's just like being able to say that in the mirror. And you're like, oh, jeez. Literally, I had to get a new mirror. I was like, the fact that it saw that, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like.
What's your most common like negative criticism of yourself?
I can have a couple.
Just like worthless. Don't do it.
Oh,
I
really?
can't achieve a lot of
That
things.
checks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a solid point. I mean, yeah, it's a criticism because it's correct, but I mean, yeah. So.
Interesting. And how'd you flip that around for this week?
Oh well, then
You
afterwards.
sound like the most bored, like school guidance counselor.
It sounds like a therapist who
What
like
do you-
kind of doesn't want to do the job
Is that what
anymore.
you-
He's
What do
he's
you-
like looking at a sheet, but it is just a doodle of like a cartoon he's got going on. It's just like a picture of my face, and it goes. I'm so. It's just he just
Doing a
drew.
caricature of you with like a big nose. He's like, so what would you say?
Yeah, and you're like, and then how did that change? It's just sad screech is what he wrote down. I don't know. I would just say things I accomplished, and then try to kind of say that's objectively not true, and
Yeah.
that people care about me and shit. So
Oh, nice.
you're like, well, good for you, asshole. Cole starts crying. Starts feeling This is awkward. Being successful or happy feels a little awkward. And also, like, I went to the gym and did something cool. It's like, all right.
Why? I mean, it's just a way. I don't think that.
I'm just saying, there's
misery is
not
good.
much to say. Like when someone asks, like, "How you doing?" You go, "Good." It's the end of conversation.
Yeah, but I do think
But
it's
if you're
unhealthy. It's unhealthy to just sit in misery all the fucking.
Well,
Like, that's not a
I
good
generally don't really.
What about you, Kwame?
What do you say?
Unleash the beast within this week.
Yeah. I tried. I forgot to do the mirror shit, but I tried to.
You don't own a mirror. You're
Tried
like,
to
I
live
really-
try to live like a gorilla.
Don't you kind of do that?
What do you mean?
On the verge of extinction with zero
I'm
resources?
better than you. Yeah, I tried to live like a gorilla. I tried to.
Yeah. So, and then some of the cold shower thing. That's just torture. That's just making your life miserable. I don't know why so many self-help books are really into ruining showers for you, because that's like, I mean, that's one of the best parts of my.
I mean,
day.
just hot water on your body is one of the maybe top 3 just best feelings
experiences in general.
Ever.
I only get 10 minutes of the day where I'm like, this is good. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, take that away
Yeah.
and just shower in cold water, and that'll teach you something. So.
Yeah.
That all these.
So I do think if you could endure like just a month straight of cold shower, I mean, I'll be fucking terminated. I'll do anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can
fucking
probably
fly.
anything in life will be like that is not as bad as 6 in the morning. Your dick would be non-existent. He would just run inside to be like a fucking organ. But yeah, I feel like a lot of these tips, like besides some of the like the wackier ones, like the shower thing, were like generally probably kind of solid and like tips that anybody would tell you to do.
Yeah.
Like the mirror thing, that seems like something that a therapist would tell you to do. I think that's
It's very standard self-help stuff.
Oh yeah, I'd actually. I
Um,
mean, I'd recommend it to anybody that's.
Yeah,
kinda
very
hard on
standard
themselves.
self-help stuff. But it's surprising with the title and also like from who it
Who he
comes.
is.
Yeah.
It's such a mild. I was really expecting him to be
I
way
thought he was gonna go on
crazier.
the full like white supremacist crazy shit.
Yeah, when it said gorilla mindset, I'm like, he's gonna just say some insane things about like ripping morality apart. But it was just basically like shower and clean your room and work out and believe in yourself. And you're like, this is what a guidance counselor would tell you to do. You know. So I don't know. Maybe he's right about some other things. That's all I'm saying. We just have to. I mean,
I'm gonna officially unendorse that on the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. We haven't endorsed him, but maybe look into Pizzagate. There might be something there.
that'd be great. If we're like, hey, he was right about the mirror thing, and I
You're
think
fucking
Pizzagate holds a
crazy.
mirror to our society and how child trafficking is able to go on. So I think the only thing I'd just say, the gorilla thing makes no sense. That's a metaphor he clearly
This
was
is what it
attached to
is.
that just he should have dropped a long
Yeah.
time ago.
There wasn't even anything that really connected to the metaphor.
Not
Like,
even a little
not even.
He didn't even bring up why gorillas are good. He brought up 0 things about gorillas.
Yeah, like why
So-
you would even want to be a gorilla.
Yeah, you shouldn't be, really. It's a kind of an impulsive murdering machine. That
Because
doesn't sound-
like also like I don't know. You go to the zoo, you see a bunch of animals. Gorillas isn't one that I was like I would.
I wish that was me. You
Yeah.
know?
Like you see them and they're like, oh, I feel sad for
Which
that.
animals do you see in the zoo that you're like, I wish that was me?
Not many.
Like Cole's about to say something weird. Gazelle.
Yeah. First of all, I like that you didn't say none. You said not many.
Yeah, anyway. Okay, so there's some.
So there's 2 or 3.
Cole is like draws just photos of iguanas that he wishes one day would come.
If we're gonna like stay within like the primate family, I'd rather be an orangutan than a gorilla.
You know, I agree with that weirdly because I
Yeah.
think
Why do you
orangutans.
like orangutan?
Orangutans are kind of like the fun uncle of the primate
Yeah,
family.
they're pretty
They seem
cool. They're
pretty
kinda
cave.
chill,
They seem
yeah.
kind of. You know, they make hats out of leaves.
Do they really?
Yeah, to
Shit.
survive the rain. So
We
just
did we did this thing where we were
That's so
they're,
fucking
they're,
adorable.
they're
When I was a
like
kid, I went to
whimsical
the-
gorillas.
That's
kind
what
of.
it is. They seem so fucking funny and they're having a good time.
when I was a
and-
kid, I did this thing where I went to the zoo for like a little summer camp zoo thing, and we did this activity where we like got a bunch of like nuts and like not candy, but nuts and like bananas and shit and fruits and like some syrup. We wrapped them in some T-shirts, and then they let us like throw them to the orangutans so they could like have them as a snack, and then they would grab them, they'd eat them, and then they would put the shirts on because they like saw us wearing shirts, and they were like, oh, it goes in our body. It was great. It was the best.
Yeah, orangutans are great. If we've learned anything, it's orangutans are an adorable primate.
You like
and
a
they
chimp?
deserve help. Yeah, but they
I
are
don't like
scary.
chimps scare the shit out.
Chimps
Chimps
are
is
scary.
fucking horrifying, man.
Like gorillas are kind of like they're kind of like frat members
They're
or
the
something.
jocks of high school, really.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see a gorilla, it is kind of like, you just pushed me into my locker.
Yeah, do orangutans attack people? I don't think they really do.
No, they
kinda
just mess with people. They like play like little tricks on them and stuff. Like lightly slap them in the back of the head or something.
Yeah. I mean, a gorilla will literally rip you apart. You're really like, it is a murdering machine. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, but I feel like a book called The Orangutan Mindset wouldn't really tell you to achieve your best. It would probably just be like kind of hang
I
out.
think that's just
eat
a
some
Bob Marley album.
Yeah, yeah. So
It would be
Um,
like actually those orangutans from the Jungle Book though were kind of mean, weren't they?
Yeah, but
I
isn't he
don't
like
really
huge? Isn't he like a giant? I don't know. I haven't seen the Jungle Book.
The like racist like jazz loving orangutans from the
Oh, is
Jungle
that-
Book.
man, Disney can't go through a single movie without projecting some racist thing.
Well, their old shit is. I mean,
Oh,
they're
oh.
like 1940. Yeah, it's like Donald Duck like versus the Japanese.
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
the fuck?
It was the country at the time. You know?
What the fuck is going on there?
We wrote a mean cartoon. They killed 3,000 unsuspecting military men on a December
Oh,
morning.
man.
So I mean,
So
but
you would help
overall, I'd say
official. It was established officially endorsing orangutans on the podcast. This is the official podcast of orangutans.
yeah. So yeah, terrible dude, but he managed to take some kind of cliche self-help that I think kind of work. Like, it's unfortunate, but this might be like one of the most reasonable books
Yeah,
we've ever read.
like if this is the self-help book that alt-right people are reading, I'm kind of
Well, kinda
fine.
good.
I'm kind of fine with that.
Yeah, I'm like, well,
yeah.
You would think this would make some of them better people.
I think it would. If you're sitting in the mirror thinking, you're saying your internal monologue, which is black people suck.
Yeah,
You're like, well,
exactly.
that's a little
It's racist
ridiculous.
Shit.
Oh,
You might want to fucking alt-right motherfucker. Yeah, you should probably read the Gorilla Mindset.
I think it's a decent enough. I don't know. It really is. I've read scarier books about picking up women on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which always turn into some weird, like, well, the secret to hooking up is really getting with consent. And you're like, oh, okay. Whereas, like, this book is, it's just like, hey, don't hate yourself and try some weird shit about counting backwards from 100. But even if you did that wacky shit, you probably
Look,
would
you
help
get
you.
past
It
where
probably
he's
would help
talking
you in
about-
some way, though.
Get past where he's talking about his daughter. All right, you're gonna
That's
get
a little-
weirded
He
out.
He doesn't talk about his daughter.
That's just facts we knew about.
That's just
Oh, that's just
outside
facts you
information.
brought
No,
up.
No, if we know him solely from the book, if you get past the wacky primate thing and you do what he says, and in the shower thing, you're miserable. But then you'd be like, well, you probably are better off, like, doing some of the stuff than
yeah.
not doing.
I was scared at first because I'm like, the gorilla method. All these alt-right people are reading the gorilla method.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like, this
I'm
is
like,
gonna
what
be.
the fuck's
This-
going on?
We're not
Yeah,
going to be
it's
able to
crazy
release the
shit.
episode. It's going to be me and Kwame incarcerated.
That's some
at the end.
crazy shit.
So
You want to hit him with our spiel at the end?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, you guys should. We do have a new social media person who's kind of posting a lot of stuff, doing all the work that we are too lazy to do. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Instagram is I'll see you in help. The Twitter is at see you in help. And check out the YouTube.